welcome. My name is Kate Griffiths and I'm coming on today to talk to you about a number of things. I'm from Whole Self Leadership, and what instigated this chat was really to give you the next instalment in the Grace in Living, which is the book we're reading at the moment, and we've got to the chapter that's called The Journey, which is in the last section of part 1. And it talks a lot about spiritual biography. You might think, well, why would you bother to actually write about your, journal about how you've developed spiritually? Let me give you an example of something I was doing today. I was working with a group of entrepreneurs on the LIFT programme, which is funded by the Royal Academy of Engineering. They're all based in Latin America. And we did Entrecomp with them, which is basically a circular diagram of 15 different skills they need, or it's recommended you have as an entrepreneur. And we did it with them a few months ago, and one of them commented and said, "Oh, haven't we done this before?" And I said, yes. And that's precisely why we're doing it again, because you need to see how far you've come, and because you will have changed because of all of the experiments and the work that you've been doing and how you've been developing your business. So you won't be in the same place, and that will be good, because then that will be something to celebrate, because we very rarely press pause and take time to reflect and see where we are, which is vital, because then when things aren't going so well, we've got something to fall back on, to feel more resilient about. Go, well, this too will change. So it very much reminded me of this bottle, which is the root chakra bottle, which has got red and coral. They look like pink to you. Because red in some ways is about building foundations in things like physical security. Because when we don't feel safe, or when we get lots of rejections, particularly as entrepreneurs, then we think, oh, well, nobody wants to buy my whatever. And it can be hard to keep going. And actually, that is part of red. And so then it's like energy is a smell, and people smell that on us and think, oh, I'm not sure I want to be connected to them, I don't want to do their program. Because people don't buy your program based on what you write so much as what's the energy behind it, how, and they connect to that. And it's often at an unconscious level, like I said, because they love your vibration. They're going, yes, I agree with what you're saying, I connect to you. You're meeting somebody in your tribe. And that also speaks to part of red, which is about passion and love. And Osho said, love should be like breathing. It's not about falling in love with someone, it's about being love. And the more that we can be love, the more we can attract in what we desire, and probably be in alignment, so that actually what we're wanting to manifest is in our highest good. Which then is, when we start getting to that place, we're really getting to the enlightened root chakra, the light body, which is this bottle, which is quite hard to see because it's completely clear. So when you see it full on, it often looks a bit bright. I'm just wandering around with it so you can see it a bit better. So there you go. So then you decide which is the one that you like the most, and which are you really relating to. And there's no right or wrong or better or worse. They're different. And we're at different stages depending on how much we're still worrying about details like paying mortgages and stuff like that, and how much we're trusting the infinite, the source, the universe, to provide what we need. Because it will, if we connect in and if we're doing that work. It's really amazing. Now, even in my own life recently, I need to sell a house in order to buy another place, and ours wasn't selling, so we had to reduce the cost of it. And now we have 2 offers on it, and potentially a third coming in. And so, that's come out of nowhere on some levels. So that's an example of why it's important to have faith and to trust. And also, the more you start to connect in and to connect to your intuition, you know if somebody's in your tribe or not. So then you know whether it's even worth having the conversation. Some of them will always say no, because they're really not connecting at that same frequency that you're connecting at. So it wouldn't matter what you say, how many testimonials you've got, and any of that, because the vibration's not right. And I just want to say maybe a couple of things about the journey when you're looking at spiritual biography. The first bit is the taste. The taste being, You know, you might be in like I remember when I was a child being in a place in New Zealand which had been a leper colony. I mean, it was deserted at this point, but it had this most amazing sense of peace. You could almost eat, certainly cut a knife through. It was incredible, and I still remember that, and I couldn't really put words into it, but it was a really strong soul connection. And you'll have had experiences that yourself that you maybe didn't understand, maybe a very young child, but a beautiful sense of being. And so then you get this taste, you hunger for more, and that sets you on the journey. And then once you've made that connection, you become a seeker, which is really about, you know, perhaps quarter two, the next section of the journey. And that continues until the end of seeking. And it can be a very long time because we have to let go of all aspects of the self, the ego, which is never very easy, to be honest. And I like in the book, which we are reading, The Grace in Living, Conscious Conversations Book Club, I'm talking about, this quote from Dana Folds, who does a lot of stuff around mindfulness. To take one step is courageous, to stay on the path day after day, chasing the unknown and facing yet another fear, that is nothing short of grace. And that really is it, because you get those and think nothing is happening, it's not working, I've done all these clearings or whatever the work, all these prayers, all these meditations, or maybe you just give up on it and think, oh, there's no point doing it. But you know, the divine is always there and it's always available to us. And then the more we get out of our own way, the more the magic is able to sort of happen through us, not because of us, really. And so I think that is a lot of what those two bottles are talking about, they talk to me about, and the journey from the red bottle to the clear bottle. So I'd love to know what you think. Feel free to leave some comments below. And I guess my final point is, you know, colour therapy is not a leisure interest or a luxury. It is actually one of the answers to a life of fulfillment and to help you get towards a higher state of consciousness. So it's very valuable indeed. So have a fabulous rest of your week wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And even if you're not in our book group, I hope what you've heard has given you a taste for wanting more, because it's a fabulous book and I definitely recommend reading it. Okay, thanks now. Go well.